Hey everybody, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching the first episode. It's a nice Wednesday, Tuesday, I don't know. How long has it been? A month? A year? Time is passing and or not. I don't know what's happening, but we're ready to do another show. Most of the time I'm not at the show. I'm just at home with a 5-year-old and an 8-month-old. So if you'd like to see what that's like in a picture, look at this. All right, enough about me. Let's get on with week 2 of the show.
It's killing me.
Welcome back to the Steve Patterson Project. I've graduated to sitting at the corner of a desk with a rotating chair. Good for me. You know, I named the show this because I like to make up new spellings of old words. And because with my name in the title, it's harder for a network that might pick up this show to replace me with a different host who, let's face it, would probably be from Newfoundland. There's been an increase in demand for backyard chickens from people who want to ensure their own supply of eggs. I'll admit, I've had some trouble finding eggs in the store these days, but you know what's even harder to find in stores? Live chickens. Where are you guys shopping? My local grocery store just started carrying fresh pasta like a month ago. God knows how long it would take them to corral a bunch of free-range fowl. The CEO of Zoom has apologized and said his company will improve after revelations about privacy leaks of Zoom conversations. So I'll pretty much zoom through the rest of this monologue since we use Zoom for our writer meetings and you've probably already heard these jokes. Easter weekend is coming up and New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has declared that the Easter Bunny's work is an essential service. Way to go, New Zealand Easter Bunny, and fair enough, it is a tasty distraction from the crucifixion of Jesus. Unfortunately, here in Canada, our Prime Minister hasn't done the same just yet, but he did say that if the Easter Bunny has been traveling out of country, he'll need to be quarantined at Old MacDonald's farm, where he will be eligible to collect EI-EIO. Gotta throw one in for the kids. Our producer Diana hates that one. Speaking of Prime Minister Trudeau, at his press conference on Tuesday, he expanded on Dr. Theresa Tam's recommendation for people to wear cloth face masks, but he did so with a rather unusual choice of words.
My understanding of what Dr. Tam explained yesterday is that if people want to wear a mask, that is okay. It protects others more than it protects you because it prevents you from breathing or speaking moistly on them. Oh, what a terrible image.
Yeah, that caused half the viewers to shudder and the other half to also shudder, but in a very different way, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying which side I'm on here, but if I were wearing pants right now, they'd be moistly. In fairness, I think PM JT is doing a very solid job in these daily briefings, but I have to admit, I would love to take over for just a day and inject some much-needed sarcasm in when the reporters' questions get, I won't say dumb, alt-smart. Sometimes the reporters ask very alt-smart questions. So here's a segment we're going to call Prime Minister for a Day, which, to be clear, is not a job I would actually want or be qualified for, but, well, it's nice to dream. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be the Prime Minister. First of all, I would like to thank, again, all the essential workers in Canada who continue to fight this virus at the front lines for us, be it healthcare workers, grocery store workers, truck drivers, and of course, porn website content providers. I've never been to one myself, but I'm told that even if they never film another scene at all, they have enough stockpiled already to get even the loneliest of adults and the most unsupervised of teenagers through what could be an infinite quarantine. I'd also like to thank the companies who are stepping up in this unprecedented time to adapt their businesses for essential items, like beer brewers who are now starting to make hand sanitizer, which for some was obviously a pretty easy transition. I don't really have any major new announcements on funding today because frankly, I'm not at all sure where we're getting all this money. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm not sure how we're getting it to you. I don't want to see a bunch of people, by the way, when they get their $2,000 from CERB walking around with tigers that they just purchased. We just learned that tigers are not immune to the virus. So please, I can't make you not buy a tiger, but please don't buy a tiger. Most of all, to the kids who have been asking me questions this week, I want to thank you. It's not easy right now being away from friends or being stuck at home with your families, especially if your dad is someone who's usually out at night making jokes with his other smart aleck friends and coming in late at night and waking up mommy and disturbing everything. And now he's just home all the time watching Ozark. Not easy for you, and trust me, I hear you. Especially my 8-month-old baby. I hear you all day and all night crying. All right, are there any questions?
J'enlève le veste qu'un journaliste le besoin. Les masques N95.
Sorry, I'm not sure why I've listened this long. I did take French immersion in Ontario in the 1980s, but I still don't understand a word that you're saying. I apologize.
Okay, au revoir.
Au revoir, à bientôt.
Dave from the Toronto Star. After clashing with President Trump, 3M made a new deal with the White House to continue sending N95 masks to Canada. Are you happy with this solution?
Oh, God, you know, this mask thing, look, would I like that if we got the masks from 3M? Of course I would. I don't understand what's happening down there. He's not a reasonable adult. I don't know what to tell you. I will tell you this. Canada's making our own Made in Canada solution. We have slightly better masks, I'm told, that are called the N96 that are being made by a new Canadian company called 4M, or as I like to refer to them,
Really?
No, not really, but it would be funny if it was.
Carol from Reader's Digest. Ontario and Quebec have released their COVID death projections, but the rest of the country wants to know what the worst case death projections might be.
Yes, I keep getting asked about these projections. I think the simplest way I can say it is you guys seem to be obsessed with the worst case scenarios. The worst case scenarios take the population of the world and divide by the population of the world. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. That's the worst case scenario. So take that and smoke it.
Hi, I'm Scarlett from Church Magazine.
Hey, finally. How you doing?
I've been making masks with my mom and washing my hands.
Beautiful. I wish more people would do that.
And
Yeah.
all my friends have been making masks too.
And all of Canada thanks you for that, Scarlett. What's the question?
Yeah, out of the way. Grown-up question over here.
Hey.
Justin from Vice, are you going to provide fair and equitable wages for the children forced to work for 4M sewing these new N96 masks?
Enough with the masks. We're making our own masks. We're giving it a shot, all right? Everyone should be more like Scarlett. Thank you. Everyone else, get off my lawn. Stay home. All of you, stay home. Okay?
Prime Minister, is pizza going to remain an essential service in Canada?
Give me that mask content. Come on.
And it's killing me.
Well, Carolyn Tuckwell, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
You brought me in to do a clubhouse gala for the Boys and Girls Club in Vancouver. I don't know how many years ago it was. And then I just wouldn't leave. I just kept coming back, and you just kept finding things for me to do. And you realized I'm sort of an adult, but I'm mostly a boy. And now we're doing other fundraisers that have kind of branched out from that. So we've known each other a long time. And I believe that of all the CEOs that I've seen in my time at every function, you are my favorite for telling the cause of what your organization is about and for literally meaning what you say. So I love that about you. And tell us about the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, so Boys and Girls Clubs are a place for kids to belong when they aren't at home or at school. And our whole goal is to develop relationships with them that are deeply connected and that support them to really get to 4 big life outcomes: relationship skills, healthy living behaviors, to develop a love of lifelong learning and leadership. And when we're successful, which we are quite often, I'd like to say almost all the time, we set kids up to really launch into adulthood with the things that they need to thrive.
What I love about the Boys and Girls Club, and I am actually an alumni of Boys and Girls in London, Ontario. So it got me through a lot of tough years as a kid, and it was something that I looked forward to going to all the time. And what I love about it is that kids are not turned away based on financial resources, that you get every kid in there that you possibly can, which is why the fundraising is so important, right?
That's exactly right. At the core of our belief is that every kid is amazing. Not that they would be or they could be if only something was different, but that they are. And we know that kids can be defined by things that happen to them during their childhood, and by being there for them, we can help to avoid that. We can help them to continue to thrive and be resilient, give them the things they need. Certainly, we know that human connection is a basic human need. Being connected to young people that they admire and look up to, who help them to stay on the right path, is critically important. And especially for families that struggle financially, we want them to know that they don't have to worry about whether or not their kids have that great place in their neighborhood to belong to. And you're quite right. That's exactly why fundraising is such an important part of our work, because we want there to be no question that kids can come. If they show up on our door, come on in.
The challenges that we're facing now to have fundraisers, to have live fundraisers, they're obviously not possible right now. I believe I did the last live one for you. It was a few weeks ago, before the world had completely changed. What do you do now when you can't bring people together to continue fundraising?
I think the thing that we're all having to face right now is, how do we use the tools we now have available to us to engage and reach out? I think what's most important, do we, dig deep and find the way to launch something and know that it's going to be what it is, and do our best. And people respond to effort, people respond to perseverance, and people care about the causes they care about. So I think one of the things that happens in these tough times, the most recent one I think that was notable on this scale would have been the crash of 2008. And one of the biggest mistakes that nonprofits made at that time was to stop asking. They made the choice for donors that the donors weren't going to give, and so they didn't ask. And I think, for us, for those of us who raise money to actually operate our organizations, including paying our staff and keeping the lights and bills on just like any business, it's on us to make sure that we're respectfully, thoughtfully, and as strategically as we can continuing to reach out to people. And if that means doing an online virtual fundraiser, or finding, getting back on the phone the way we do, it's all about continuing those relationships.
I'm happy to hear you say that piece of advice. Don't forget to ask. Keep asking for money, even if you don't think it's coming in. My wife and daughters certainly aren't shy about that in this time. My 5-year-old asked me the other day for a bunch of money. I don't think she needed it for anything. She's just like, "Hey, Daddy, do you have $100?" I'm like, "Why?" I don't know. I just want $100. So.
Is she looking for a job?
She is a little girl. She's right in the wheelhouse. You see, everyone that's watching this is why I love Carolyn Tuckwell. She means what she says. She knows what she's talking about. And, she's there for the fundraising world as all, but boy, she's going to fight for the boys and girls. And that's what I love about you. Okay, it's time to bring in our fly on the wall here on the project. Is he there? We have there he is.
Oh,
Dan the Magnan, as I like to refer to him. Dan Magnan, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Nice to finally see you, not just hear you.
Yeah, I know. I apologize for my face. People sometimes are like,
beautiful face.
People are like, "You don't look like I thought you did." I don't know what to say to that. Neither do you.
Yeah. I'm maybe I'm shorter in real life or something.
Dan's been listening, and we've been speaking about fundraising during this time of pandemic. And the reason that I brought Dan in addition to the fact that he's an amazingly talented musician and one of my very favorites, and many people's very favorites, he also has started a charitable initiative during all this, actually before all of this, called Side Door.
Side Door initially began, the kind of core thing that it delivers is to connect, foster connection and community through the shared experience of art in alternative spaces. So kind of like the Airbnb for shows, right? So we would help comedians or musicians or anything put on a show in a living room or a bookstore or a juice factory or warehouse. Any space could be a venue. And we're basically breaking down the access barriers for anybody to participate and basically be a DIY promoter.
Now, let me just ask you, Dan, have you guys are both out in Vancouver, by the way. You're out in the same area. Are you familiar with the Boys and Girls Clubs? Because what a great connector music can be, especially for the boys and girls. Everyone thinks about the activities that they do, the sports activities and visual arts, and that's great. But I do love seeing kids' eyes light up when they start to experience music for the first time. So this could be a really nice thing. I mean, this isn't a dating show. I'm just trying to get you guys to get the kids involved in some of the music too. But Dan, what do you think of Carolyn's advice to, like, don't forget to keep asking during this time? Because what I like about Side Door is that there's so many musicians just putting their stuff out online. Here it is, just take it. But you're putting a value to that.
Well, and so I should be clear, Side Door is not in and of itself a charitable organization. Side Door is a business. But what it does is it puts value on art, and it encourages artists to, put a hard ticket on what they're doing. So in a world where everybody is just broadly streaming themselves for free, what that does is it creates a world where the audiences and participants are engaging in a passive nature for a couple minutes and then moving on with their day. And what we found, so we've transitioned really hard and quickly into putting on ticketed, gated, online, interactive shows. And so we've been doing them much like this, like on Zoom. We've had 600-700 people all on the same show, and the participants can see each other. The artists can see the participants. They're taking Q&A questions. We had Danny Michel did one yesterday where he saw somebody strumming along from home, so he said, "Unmute that guy," and the guy took a verse of the song and
cool.
threw it back to Danny. And so what we're finding is that these online interactive shows can be really special and gratifying and rewarding in a way that just broadly casting yourself to the internet doesn't really allow for. So
thanks, Dan. That's the exact model of this show that you're on right now. We're just putting it out there. We're not getting anything from anybody, any value to it.
But what I've been doing is doing a weekly show, and I have been donating the proceeds of those shows to various organizations.
Okay,
so
you don't have to one up me again, Dan. I get it.
I was going to say, now I have a perfect organization in mind to put into the queue for one of my weekly shows.
Bless you. Now, Carolyn, are you writing this down? What about the interactive element for kids? Because they want to interact, obviously. Have you guys been doing any initiatives yet with your organization with that?
Oh, I love that. I was listening, Dan, as you were talking about that, and there's definitely some opportunity for connection. And as Steve knows and has described, once we're connected with people, we like to really make it meaningful and
hold on,
grab hold. I think we're rapidly looking at how we can offer kids an hour or two a day of their club experience. And so that's something that is in real time developing right now. And we're hopeful that within a very short period of time, we'll be able to reach out and have kids engaging in that way with their club staff that they know best. And I think what you're talking about would be such an incredible way to offer them an opportunity to come in and be part of that, because as you both referenced, kids' response to music is palpable, it's immediate, and for the collection of kids for whom that is their future, that is the thing that they're wired to do. We want to provide those opportunities as much as we can. So love to continue that conversation.
Well, I'm going to pitch an idea to you right now. So we basically, the way that our ticketing works is that we can split the revenue right at the point of sale. So, we could siphon half to an artist and half to any organization, for instance, yours. And what about a program where people basically buy a ticket to a show for someone who can't afford it, for a kid who doesn't have access. And half of that money goes to the artist and half of that money goes to the Boys and Girls Club. The artist is served, you are served, the kid in need is served.
Amazing.
Huh? Yeah. That's what this entire show is about. This whole show is worth it.
Amazing.
You know what? We've peaked now. This conversation, it's gone to the perfect place before you guys start hurling insults at each other. So I'm going to shut it down, because this is a beautiful, beautiful thing that's coming together
from here. Yeah.
But we're now going to go and we're going to do our interview with Dan. Carolyn, you're more than welcome to listen in. I don't know why you wouldn't, but I know that you're very busy doing your thing. So I will say au revoir for now. Carolyn, I know we'll be in touch again very soon. Everyone, please support your local Boys and Girls Clubs and indeed all of your different charities because during this time, the need is higher than it is not lower. So please do keep supporting them. And thanks so much, Carolyn.
Thanks, Steve, and good to meet you, Dan.
Likewise.
You've been sitting there so graciously, and I can't wait to talk to you. We would love to hear one tune if you wouldn't mind, my friend. Sure. Yeah, you're there. You're ready.
Topical enough for you. Cold in the summer, which, we could call it flu in the summer, but we'll see. You said it, I'm losing touch, the opposite of every kid out on the run. I can't stand it. I don't wanna become kinda gotta catch a cold in the summer. Daily shaver, coupon saver, collect the paper, wander the neighborhood. If this is real life, what was all that racket before? Careful what you sorta kinda ask for. You said it, I'm losing touch, the opposite of every kid out on the run. I can't stand it. I don't wanna become kinda gotta catch a cold in the summer. In the summer, in the summer, I ain't gonna catch a cold in the summer. If it's not one thing, it's another. But I ain't gonna catch a cold in the summertime. Sweet cul-de-saccharine, top up the margarine, universal ADD, helicopter parenting. I don't know where the gig is, I don't know if it's cool, but I still get lost in it, and I got more to lose. You said it, I'm losing touch, the opposite of every kid out on the run. I can't stand it. I don't wanna become kinda gotta catch a cold in the summer. In the summer, in the summer, I ain't gonna catch a cold in the summer. If it's not one thing, it's another. But I ain't gonna catch a cold in the summertime. Oh, these quarter life blues, I might make it through these quarter life blues.
Yeah. Thank you so much, brother.
My pleasure.
Is it weird to just sing that to a man, just one man?
Not to you. It would be weird, Steve, if I wasn't envisioning you every time I sang a prayer tonight.
Well, thank you so much for playing that particular song, because I tweeted you. There's background. My daughter, who's 5 now, was probably 4 at the time. We were listening to that song on the radio, and she says, Daddy, how do you get a cold? How do you get a cold in the summer? I'm like, well, I mean, you don't want to. I mean, you don't want to get a cold in the summer. It happens sometimes. She goes, so this man doesn't, she doesn't, I have no idea that I'm, familiar with you. She said, does this man not want to get a cold in the summer? I'm like, well, I don't think so. She said, well, then why is he singing a song about it?
So she's already tapped into the secret, like the manifest your life. Don't put energy into the things you don't want.
Yeah.
She's 4. She's already figured it. She's going to be a guru.
Oh God. Yeah. No, I'm in deep trouble, and she's fluently bilingual already. So she's already correcting me in French, even when I say the word perfectly. So it's a real nice road ahead. I loved what you said with Carolyn in the panel about a charitable connection.
Absolutely.
Great way for artists who want to, support themselves, which is important, but also support the causes that they really stand for, which is what this is has all been about today. So Dan, thank you so much for doing this, man, and taking time out of your busy schedule and playing that song, which is relevant in a lot of ways in the world that we're living in. Mm-hmm. And I hope to see you very soon, my friend, either through a screen again or preferably
maybe even IRL.
Maybe IRL. Yeah, we'll have to come up with new acronyms for these meetings. But thank you so much, man. And
pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. That's it for episode 2. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the Steve Patterson Projecttt. My special thanks to my guests Carolyn Tuckwell and Dan Magnan, reminding us to give, especially now in these tough times. To follow us online, you can see us on Twitter at the Steve Projecttt or on Facebook at the Steve Patterson Projecttt. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Patterballs, and I'll be tweeting mostly about this since it's literally the only thing I have to do. Did I miss anything? There's actually no one there. Thanks again for watching the project. We hope to see you next week.
And action.
Hi, I'm Scarlett from Shirt Magazine, and I've been making masks with my mom and washing my hands.
And all my friends.
And all my friends have been making my masks too.
Okay, now do a silly face.
And it's killing me.
And